Right, hello everybody. Welcome to Spinster's Rock. What actually is it? Is it a tomb? Did it have an earthen mound once over it? Was it an earth energy capacitor, as John Burke has been talking about, and Maria Wheatley's also talked about the fact that it's an earth energy thing. I think Patrick knows a little about that too. Well, there's a tale about this site of three spinsters who had time to kill one morning before breakfast, and for the jobber to call and collect the woolen cloth that they had been spinning the night before. So they created this monument in their spare time. I like the idea of the fact that they're punning, and this is a good yarn.
Oh, very good pun, very good.
Sorry about that. Well, in 1779, William Chappell considered that the name was in fact from a Celtic phrase, and this is difficult to pronounce, so I'll sort of do a Welsh version of it, Il Ispina Rongoa, which literally means the place of the open observatory, or the stargazing place. Mm-hmm. Well, this links directly into star lore, and the three birds, the Cygnus, Lyra and Aquila, and the northern axis pole or world tree upon which the bird sits. It has fallen, but restored in 1862, so that is how you now experience it. Slightly adjusted. And again, with this one, like many of the other quoits, I've got the feeling that it's a little bit too level. If you look at Tretheavy Quoit down Cornwall, you'll find that the capstone is at a ridiculous angle. Most of them are never quite that level. I think that's sort of like an insurance play. But this is not the main part of the complex. The area, as you know, is called Drewstone, the Druid Stone, Drewstone Town. So there's obviously the recollection here of Druids performing ceremonies here back in the William Stukeley times. We all know our early antiquarians loved the romance of Druids, including, of course, William Stukeley, famous for his recording at Avebury and of Stonehenge and many other megalithic monuments. But as the Spinsters Rock site was erected about 3,000 years, or 500 more on that, ago, it precedes any concept of actual Druids. That period long ago was when a man was finding his way in the universe and learning his place in and under the stars, the sky gods above him. They needed to understand their movements and to chart and map them, and they chose markstones and alignments as a way of doing so, and thus giving birth to the megalithic stones that still remain for us to enjoy. The main part of the observatory is a complex across the road from here, due west of here, exactly due west of the Spinsters Rock complex. Unfortunately, I've been unable to gain permission from the current landowner for us to visit there, and even so today they're still not available to go across there. Unfortunately, there's little to see today. There's a pile of stones along the field boundary and a few possible recumbent stones in another pile of field clearance boulders. You might have seen some as you drove up the road. That clearance was probably beginning on what was originally a common land during the 1600s for obtaining building materials. In 1793, and after many enclosure acts had bitten into the common land, and Mr. Polwell came along and recorded and mapped the site of those that were still standing. So we do know that it existed and it was mapped. In 1832, a Mr. Gray visited the site with his brother and described a sacred way, 2 rows of pillars and columnar circles. A map was reproduced in 1872 by a Mr. Omerid, who was actually visiting and failed to find any stones at all.
Stu, I think I mentioned it's resonates with me with the Old Wives Lift just outside of Glasgow.
That's right, I remember, Graham.
Yeah, which is supposed to be three old spinsters
That's 3 old Spinsters.
who carried the rocks and
Yes.
built this dolmen, and that does also have an astronomical alignment.
I'm fascinated by the way the Spinster, his spinner,
Yeah, yeah,
has been used about a star observing place.
yeah.
So there's this memory that there was once a place here that they measured the stars and the alignments from. If you look at the map, you'll see how many alignments there are on it, and how you've got an east-west alignment, and how you've got circles with it. We are on the Mary line to the east of the Spinsters Rock now, so we would be on that alignment now. We would be standing about there. And look at that across the road. Mary goes along through that side of it, just as Graham's Dows, just down to the side here. So the Dows Mary line goes sort of down through here.
Someone they lost yesterday.
Wow.
Do you recognise Callanish?
Yeah, we're going to comment on that.
And that's private land then?
That's private land.
So you wonder if Mary once went through it and has moved.
Exactly, I think there's that possibility. I've also got the feeling that the boulders that are in that field have been left because they probably it became too embarrassing perhaps. But this piece here, I think they were in awe of it and therefore unable to touch it. They just didn't dare.
Yeah.
So let's all go down to it. Thank you, folks.
Ooh.
I don't know.